I feel rough, tired, and just overall blah today. I have all week actually, and the last thing I want to do is my makeup, but I have places to go, people to see. So I thought I would take this opportunity and share the makeup that I do when I need to look more presentable, a little more lifted than I currently do. I traveled for several days and I feel like I can see it in my skin. I look a little sallow, I have some spots, my dark circles are out in full force. This makeup is pretty quick and easy. It still lets your skin show through. Nothing is heavy. It's perfect for days when you're just not feeling your best, but you kind of need to fake it. And hey, sometimes makeup helps me feel better once it's all said and done. We'll see how that goes today. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and let's get into this quick and simple makeup for days when you're just not quite feeling your best. My skincare, including sunscreen, has already been on my face for a while now. I will have those products listed and linked down below along with everything I'm sharing in today's video. I know some of you like to know what I use each day. I'm going in first with my NYX Precision Brow Pencil in the shade Ash Brown. I like it because it's this kind of bigger dash shape and it just allows me to do my brows very quickly. The shade is really nice for me. Because my brows are not even with one another and they have some sparse areas, I do have to take some time to fill in my brows, and this is just a great brow pencil for doing that very quickly on a daily basis. I don't have to spend a lot of time doing them, which is something I really appreciate, and I like to do this at the very beginning sometimes because it just looks a little more natural in my opinion, and I can always touch them up later, but I find it's just quicker and easier for me to do them in the beginning. Now they may still look uneven because my brows are never even. Every time I sit down to do my makeup on a daily basis and in almost every single one of my makeup application videos, one of the very first things I do is to apply a lip prep step, because as we age, our lips get thinner and less full due to environmental factors, collagen loss, and other factors that come into play, but we lose that fullness, volume, and moisture that we had in abundance when we were younger. And for years now, my holy grail lip plumper has been City Lips Lip Plumping Gloss, and this is the shade San Diego. I'm almost out, and so I do have a backup of the shade, which you'll see here on my lips in a minute, but there are shimmers, there are mattes, and there is a clear. City Beauty is running their Valentine's Day sale through February 14th, and I do want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of today's video so that I can tell you more about that and share more about this holy grail product of mine and a couple more if you're wanting to shop that sale. So through February 14th, you can save 35% site-wide with my code stephbmarie. I will have that along with everything else from today's video in my description box down below. So the reason why I like City Lips and have liked them for so long is because they give immediate and long-term results. They provide deep hydration and plump your lips, but without burning or stinging, and they smooth the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. They have hyaluronic acid, oligopeptides, and other soothing moisturizers. They're comfortable and soothing, and you will be able to see a difference in my lips, especially as we move further into the video. Another product that gives immediate and long-term results is Beyond Mascara. You'll see me apply this a little bit later. It's a 2-in-1 mascara and nourishing serum. It gives volume and length, and it conditions your lashes. It's a really, really nice mascara. It's also long wearing and smudge resistant. And a favorite that I discovered a few months ago that I've shared a couple times is the Restoring Hand Treatment. I am extremely picky when it comes to hand lotions, hand moisturizers. This goes beyond just deep hydration, which it does give, but it also treats signs of aging to treat wrinkles, crepey skin, and dark spots while it deeply hydrates. It's also fragrance free, which I really love. So you can check out any of these or browse around their website and save 35% site-wide with my code stephbmarie, and the link is down below. I don't always do this step, but I'm feeling like my skin needs a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a glow today, so I am going to be applying a little bit of this e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I'm applying it in shade 3, and I'm just taking it all underneath my eyes, tip of my nose, upper lip, and I'm applying some on my forehead, but not too much, just kind of above the brow. I do get oily in my T-zone, so I have to be careful how I use these glowy skin products. I'm just gonna blend this out, and I do take this under my eyes because I find I can use a little bit less corrector concealer, and it also gives a more hydrated look under my eyes, which I need right now. I am going to take a little bit of under eye corrector and dab it right at the darkest points of my under eyes. This is a step I always do. Now for my skin, I want it to be evened out more than it is and just to look a little more healthy. I don't want a ton of coverage, and so depending on how well this skin perfecting primer achieves that, I guess that will determine what else we do. So this is the Fleur de Vie Smooth Operator Skin Perfecting Primer. It's a very small brand based in northern Louisiana. I discovered, oh gosh, 5 years ago maybe, and put in a video, and I've just always loved it. It's got skin benefits in it, and it evens out the skin tone. You can see it goes on white, but it's almost like a BB cream or a CC cream that starts to blend in with your skin and become the same color as your skin. So even though it says it's a skin perfecting primer, sometimes I wear it on its own or just alone under powder foundation. I feel like if this was a high-end brand's product, it would probably be viral. You see how that just kind of sinks in, and you can also build it up, and it really did even everything out. It sinks into your skin like a lotion, and it also helps keep my skin shine free during the day. It's just a really great primer or light foundation type of product, kind of all in one. I don't think I really need foundation. With using that, I just can spot conceal and conceal under my eyes very quickly. It's a really nice light product. I'm sure there are other primers out there that do a similar thing, or BB creams. I just happen to really like this one. It's underrated. It's an indie brand, and I'll have a link to it down below, just like with everything else. So I am applying Lancome Tint Idole concealer under my eyes in shade 215. I'm not going crazy with it, just a little bit to help me look more awake and concealed. This is not my typical face shade, but this is what we're having to use because I'm not getting up to go find other concealer, and I do have a couple of red spots and a little sunspot right here. I'm not going for perfection today. Very important to even out the eyelids. I did put just a tiny bit of concealer on my eyelids to even out the redness, any veins. You can do the same thing with some kind of an eyeshadow primer, eyelid primer. For powder, I'm going in with something that is just very smoothing, very natural under the eyes and on the face. The Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in shade 1 Fair, because it appears translucent and doesn't change the finish or the shade of anything on my face. I crease really badly right under my lash line, so to keep that from happening, I'll take just a smidge of powder on the tip of a sponge and just lightly press it on that area, even into the crow's feet area, just to be sure that powder is nice and pressed in. This is a dry sponge, by the way. I didn't even bother wetting one today since I wasn't applying traditional foundation. And I'm just pressing this powder into my face on my T-zone because that's where I get shine. If you're not shiny, you may not need to set anything, or you may just want to dust it on lightly with a brush, which is what I'm doing on the perimeter of my face since I have more normal skin, sometimes dry skin in those areas. Although we're looking a little pale, I am feeling worlds better about how my skin looks now, and we will, of course, fix the paleness here in a minute, but I want to move forward with eyes and show you something that I've been doing a lot on a daily basis when I just want to head out the door, especially now that I'm getting a little bit older. I find I can't just curl my lashes and slap on mascara. My eyes look smaller. I look tired because they look a little more downturned. It happens as we get older, for many of us anyway. I need a little bit of an uplift. I don't want to take an eternity to get it, so this is what I've been doing. We already prepped our lids with either primer or concealer, and we set it with powder. It's very, very important, no matter if you're fully hooded or you only have a partially hooded lid like I do. You have some of the hood resting on your upper eyelid. Keeps mascara and eyeshadow from smudging, and it keeps your eyeshadow on throughout the day. Those are very important steps. So the very first thing I do usually on these days, if I'm being kind of quick, is to go in with eyeliner in the form of eyeshadow. This is the Persona Cosmetics Copper Theory eyeshadow palette. It's a personal favorite of mine on a daily basis. You can use whatever you have on hand. I line with eyeshadow because it's easier, it's quicker, and it lasts. I'm taking the brown shade, tapping off the excess, and I'm just making a little tick mark that follows the angle of my lower lid, and you want to make sure that it doesn't go below where your upper and lower lash lines meet. It needs to be slightly above that outer corner. And I'm making sure I'm looking straight into a mirror and not raising my brows or making any kind of expressions. I started to show you what I was doing on my right eye, but I decided I wanted to show you on my left eye because it is slightly more hooded and I have creases that go further than the outer corner of my eye. It's my more difficult eye. So I'm taking this brown eyeshadow on an angled brush, tapping it off so that you don't get a bunch of fallout, and go slightly above that outer corner and just make a little tiny mark. And now I'm just gonna build up my lash line from about halfway. Because remember, we're lifting the outside of our eye. You can draw it or tap it, it doesn't really matter. And after you do it, you may not even see a huge difference, but here's what else I do. Now I've been using this brush from Persona. It's a double-ended brush. It has an angled brush on one end and then a flat, narrow brush on the other. That's the brush I'm using. You can also use a small pencil brush if you want to. So I'm going to tap it in this medium brown shade. You can even kind of tap it between these two. Tap off the excess. You could also use a bronzer if you wanted to. I like eyeshadow because it's a little bit more pigmented. And I'm just smudging it along the perimeter of that line we just made to give it a smudged appearance. And that means you don't have to be as precise with that first line. I'm taking that same shade on a fluffy brush in my crease because that will help give you a little bit of lift if you have hooded eyes that kind of rest on your eyelids. If you feel like you don't have enough contrast here on your lids, you can take just a natural nude shade. This is a Kaja little bento trio in the shade Velvet Dream, and I'm just pulling the top shade here and I'm just dabbing it on the inner 2/3 of my lid. Now, because I have my Persona Copper Theory palette here, I'm just gonna lightly dip a finger in here and just put some of this very subtle sheen right against my brow on the edge of my brow bone to give a little more lift, and on my inner corners because that helps brighten your eye. You can do it with a highlighter, whatever you choose. I have this handy. Curling your lashes is, in my opinion, a step that should not be missed on a daily basis, but especially on days like this because it can give such a dramatic lift to not just your eyes, but your entire face. So I did curl my lashes and I applied City Beauty Beyond Mascara. That's what we have going on today. It gives nice everyday volume and length, and it leaves my lashes feeling soft and conditioned. You can actually see them as opposed to earlier when they were basically invisible. Now we need to get some color in this face before I leave this house. I have not used this Fenty Beauty Sunstalker bronzer in a long time. The shade that I have is Private Island. I was at first going to go in with a luminous, glowy type of bronzer to just help with that healthy, glowy skin look. But in the end, I decided to use more of a matte natural bronzer. That way, in addition to applying it as I usually do where the sun naturally hits my forehead, nose, cheeks, and chin, if I did want to somewhat contour with it around the perimeter of my forehead, my nose, my cheekbones, my jawline, I had the option of doing that. I am going to deal with the healthy skin kind of candlelit glow here in a minute with something else. I also wanted to reach for a bronzer that would allow me to use it quickly and easily. I don't have to tap my brush off to get any excess product off before I tap it to my face. It's just foolproof, easy, and quicker than some other bronzers. I feel like blush makes all the difference on days like this. Sometimes I wear powder only, sometimes liquid or cream only, sometimes I layer. But it can truly bring the life back into your face when you're wanting to look a little more healthy and vibrant, yet still natural. I have three favorites that I've been reaching for the most. The liquid cream version is Tarte Maneater Blush and Glow. This is the shade Pink, and that is the swatch you're seeing on top. The next swatch is Persona Bubble, which has been a favorite of mine for a while now. And finally, we have my latest discovery. I discovered Dior Backstage Rosy Glow in January, and it looks very similar to Persona Bubble. I feel like Persona, oddly enough, has a little bit more of a candlelit glow behind it, and it may be a little bit more pigmented with less strokes, but it's nothing to be scared by any means. Today, I'm going to layer a cream with a powder. I don't always do that because I don't always have the time or I don't always want to spend the energy. So I will typically just swipe some of the cream blush on the back of my hand and swirl my brush in it and then just tap it to my cheek. And sometimes that's enough. I especially do that if I've already applied like powder and foundation. I'm going to take a little bit over my nose. You can see that has a little bit of glow to it. It's so pretty, even just on its own. Applying it that way is just very, very foolproof. Now, I said I was going to layer blushes, and I am, but first I want to put on just a sheer layer of MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. The shade that I have is medium plus, it's almost gone. I use this as a finishing powder on a regular basis because once it settles in the skin, it gives this really nice matte yet luminous candlelit glow look. It helps diffuse the look of your makeup to give that kind of airbrushed look. It diffuses everything together, and yet everything still looks nice. Nothing looks powdery. But sometimes when you do that, it can help if you've applied too much contour, bronzer, highlighter, blush. So it allows that blush to peek through, but it may kind of mute it a little bit. That layering, however, is still there. I'm now going in with the Dior blush on this side. Look how sheer and just pretty that is. It's just beautiful. I'm putting Persona Bubble over here. I don't always feel like the lighting is as great over here. So that you can see what this makeup looks like when I'm out running around, I'll show you in front of a window, and then maybe you can tell me if you see a difference between the two blushes. This is the Persona and this is the Dior, so you'll have to let me know that. I blotted that City Lips prep step I did in the beginning off so I could apply Makeup by Mario Smoky Pink lip pencil just very lightly, and I'm gonna go in with Pink Nude City Lips. Why not? Just because more times than not I am in some kind of a nude lip. You can of course wear a lipstick or something else, but this was sitting here since I showed it to you earlier, and this is what we have going on. You can see it here in front of a window. I promise this is much quicker when I am flying through it and not talking to you, but I do feel better now that my makeup is on. I'm ready to go do things, see the people I need to see. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this and found this helpful. Be sure and check out City Beauty 35% off site-wide through February 14th. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.